Hey, good morning, everybody. Wednesday, May 17th, 2017. So yesterday after work, I was driving home, and I've been having to deal with a lot of HR issues and things of that nature, and I just needed to talk about just the situations that I hear about and people discuss. And the thing is, I'm not trying to say anything that makes a person belittles them or makes them feel bad. I'm trying to empower you. And so when I discuss the fact that, when you have, at least for the Muckleshoot tribe, you have, within King County, you have about 4,300. This is according to the last census, that you have 4,300 tribal members within King County. And I don't remember the exact number, but of those 4,300, you have, let's just say half of them are eligible for employment, age specific. And so you have 2,200 people that are eligible for work, and you have, and I look at Human Resources website every single day, a few times per day, to see what changes, what goes up, what doesn't come up. And there are roughly about 20 positions at the tribe that they're hiring, and for entry level, for individuals with less of a resume, less education, less skills, less certifications, there's about, at any given time, maybe 2 to 5 positions, maybe 2 to 4 positions that entry level you can put in for. So of those 2,200 tribal members that are eligible for work, they don't already work at the bingo hall or at the casino. You have, all these people eligible for these positions, and then you get people from the outside putting in for these positions, and then you get, it's just, and then you have the exact same qualifications as everybody else, so it's like taking a kid. If this is from a human resources perspective, and this is not reflective upon the views or the beliefs of the tribe or the HR department, this is just my own personal view, is that you have all these employees that look the same, and it's the same thing as sending a kid into a room where there's 100 toy robots, just saying, oh, they're all the same, you just pick one, I'll give it to you, it's yours, and telling a kid to go in there, and he or she goes, oh, I'll take this one, and they take it, and the kid knows that they're all the same, they all do the same functions, they all will do the same noises and movements and have the same light and laser features, and he doesn't feel bad about not picking the other robots or this one or that one or anything like that, because they're all the same. So it's the same thing with human resource. When you go into a room, you've got all these applications in there and they all look the same. You leave yourself up to having the employer or the hiring manager, go into that room and to say, well, they're not just robots, they have names and they have reputations. And so you're leaving it up to their own personal bias to choose someone over you. And when you look the same as everybody else on a resume, that's on you. But if you have an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree and you put in for that position, and you are qualified as everyone else, but you have much more, like academic achievements and certifications, then the person who does the hiring has to ask themselves, do I really want to hire someone I know that is not as qualified as this other person because they went out of the way to get that accreditation and went to school? I have to justify this to myself and maybe to the department, maybe the employment committee, and most likely the thing is you have to leave it up to them to justify their decision. But when they have 200 people putting in for the same job, that all look the same, they don't really have to justify why they pick someone else over you, because they can internally they'll pick them because they know who they are, they're related to them, or they owe a favor to their family or whatever it is. And so you get that as, no one really questions that because they all look the same, they're a tribal member, and so bam, that's it, case closed. But you're a tribal member with an education and all these other certifications and a great resume, you have to justify why you didn't offer that position to that person, or at least give them an opportunity for an interview. And that speaks volumes, because your resume calls for action. And when you don't have a resume that calls for action, and you have the same thing all across the board for the for the education, the job requirements, the certifications or lack thereof, and you all went to the same school, and they go in there and look at those positions like, I'll just take this one. You're leaving it at a chance. You're leaving it up to people to use their own personal bias to choose who they want for that position. And honestly, that's on you. And you can't blame anyone else besides yourself for why you are in the position that you are. And I think that accountability is one of the biggest issues that we have up where I work, because you just need people to accept responsibility for their actions. You can't blame people for why where you are in life. People have come from worse positions than you are in life and managed to succeed. If you think it's tough on this reservation, look at Pine Ridge. Look how difficult it is for their kids, because there's things called generational trauma that affects kids that they are just starting to now take note of for tribal members and Native Americans in this country. And so there's a lot of things going against them, but unfortunately no one's gonna listen to those excuses or those reasons or those justifications and give them what they want. The thing is, look, you have to accept the fact that yes, you may come from a poor area. You may have a harder upbringing. Your parents weren't there. Both your parents were addicts. Both were alcoholics. Accept that. You just have to accept that, and you have to make good decisions. You have to think about your future, and you have to think about the implications and consequences of your decisions, and make the best possible decision for yourself and for your family. And if you choose not to drink, even though your parents were alcoholics, you overcame adversity. If your parents were both gambling addicts and you choose not to gamble, you overcame adversity. And if you had a kid in high school and you stayed with it and you got your GED or your diploma, you overcame adversity. So those stories are much more fascinating to me than hearing somebody who just constantly makes excuses. I had to drop out because I had a kid in high school. It's been done before. It could have been done. You don't understand my family and my housing situation. Well, it's been done before. And I just think that as society progresses and we go further into the future, I think that it's good to understand where people come from and what makes them who they are, because I think that it adds an interesting piece to the story and to the narrative. But I think ultimately, at the same time, it doesn't necessarily give him an excuse, but I think that it helps if you overcome a lot of adversity, because if you're rich and you have everything given to you and you go off into the world and you get fired from a job, your ego can't take it. You've never been told no. You've never faced adversity. And like Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they're punched in the mouth. And these rich kids who have been given everything have never been hit in the mouth. But someone like myself, and for other people who have come from adversity, come from struggling families, and having to sleep in a car and sleeping on other people's couches until you could afford your own place, and having to drink powdered milk and eat government cheese and all that stuff. We've taken a punch in the mouth. We know what it's like to get hit. We can be told no and keep going forward. We have learned to become acclimated to that you're not going to get everything that you necessarily want in life, and you have to work hard for them. And the more that you practice and that you're disciplined and you continually do the things that you need to be doing, and the same thing with working out and practicing certain things that you want to become good at, when an opportunity presents itself, you're ready for it. It's like a quarterback who, maybe you get this star quarterback on a team that, everyone loves, everyone likes, and it carries the team. You continually win, and, you just get out of college and you're drafted by them, and, you never get a chance to play because, you're on a great team and you're always winning, and the starting quarterback never never loses. And then, if that quarterback sits on the bench and never practices, never learns the playbook, and all of a sudden the star quarterback gets injured and you're thrown into play, you're going to fail, because for one thing, you weren't ready for the opportunity and you didn't prepare for it. And the actions that you do while you're on the bench and while you're not in the spotlight, are going to become magnified once you're in the spotlight. But a player, think about it when Drew Bledsoe went down. And when Drew Bledsoe went down, everyone was kind of worried about the Patriots, and all of a sudden they go, hey, they got this guy named Tom Brady on the bench. He's a 6th-round draft pick. We'll put him in. So they put him in, and all of a sudden, the rest is history. He studied the playbook. He was ready for the opportunity. He practiced, and he came in and performed wonderfully, and we've seen what that does. So that's the thing, is you need to always be practicing, bettering yourself, and eventually an opportunity is going to present itself, and you're going to be ready for it. You're not going to be blindsided oh, you called on me. Oh, why were you raising your hand? And they call on you, and you're just not ready to ask the question or to stand up and do whatever it is that you're volunteering for. So if you want to do something and you want to get a job in a particular area, practice it. Go all out. Go to trainings when you don't get paid to go to trainings. Look around, hang around people that are doing that particular job task, and hang out with them and get to know the lingo, get to know the people in the field. And maybe they're like, hey, there's this, my boss is looking for a guy who wants to come in here and work part-time and kind of learn the skills and learn the trade. You're not going to get paid as much, but hey, it's at least a foot in the door. And if you really want to do it, you'll do it. And so the thing is, if you're serious about it and you really want to change and you want to make an opportunity for yourself, you'll do it even if you don't get paid. It's the internal motivator, the intrinsic motivator, that says that you'll do whatever it takes to win, regardless of money or status. And so if you're willing to go out there and just do whatever you need to do to win, when an opportunity presents itself, you're ready for it. So for me, I train every single day. This morning, I did my 300 push-ups, by the way. I'm still going strong. Did my 300 push-ups. I also did a lot of resistance training, a lot of upper body. I also did jump rope, and I kind of took a break on the running, at least for one day this week. I'll pick it up tomorrow and Friday. But I'm just ready. It's not necessarily that, I'm training for, I'm kind of thinking about getting into a marathon or a half marathon this year, but I'm ready for those. And then when it comes down to, there's a situation in life where I need to perform physically, I'll be ready for it. If I need to run for a life or death situation, I'm trained for it. If I get lost on a trail in the backwoods and I have to know survival tactics to survive, then I have read the books in order to do that. I know how to start a fire using my shoelace. I can chop a tree down and cut wood with my shoelace or a saw. You have to learn survival tactics, because you never know when you come face to face with a bear, which I have done in Glacier National Park when I was all by myself on a backcountry hike. Come around a corner and there's a big black bear standing there. Thank God it wasn't a grizzly, but it was a black bear. And I was ready for it. I had my pepper spray, my bear spray, and I also had, a 45. So I was ready for whatever was going to come at me. And so, I was ready. I didn't come around a corner and be like, oh crap, a bear, what do I do now? Do I just curl up into a ball and let it bat me around and bite me and eat me and scratch me? Or do I run? I can't outrun a bear. They run 30 miles an hour. You just need to learn life or death situations. You need to prepare for things in life. And when it does come that you need that skill to live or to survive or to get a job or to advance yourself or advance your career, you get that opportunity, you're ready for it. And so I think that people that complain about putting in for work and not getting the job are just sitting there simply doing the same things they've done day in and day out. They don't change their routine. They don't change their regimen. They're not disciplined. They're not out there trying to better themselves, improving their health. They're just sitting there waiting for jobs to come open. They apply for it and they sit down and they go, okay, I'm waiting for that email, waiting for a call back. And they don't even call the manager. They don't call the hiring manager and say, hey, my name is so-and-so, just applied for the job. I just want to know that, I looked over the job qualifications and I'm ready for this. I've done all of this before. And, go into that department and shake their hand. And when they go into, if you get chosen for an interview, which it does help your opportunities to do that. If you get in for a job interview, they're like, oh, hey, I remember this person. Hey, yeah, you came into the department, you shook my hand, I remember your name. That helps. Your branding, whenever you're trying to get a job or trying to improve yourself in any type of way, and it comes to networking, the thing is you're always presenting a product, and the product is yourself. And so, if you don't have a job, if you're always looking for work, you're not doing what it takes to get a job. Look at the guys that are on the side of the highways saying, homeless, any little bit helps. I understand that these individuals, there might be mental issues, addiction issues, things of that nature, but for the time that they spend sitting on the corner asking for money, to whether it's to get a hotel room, which I don't think most of them do. I think a lot of them, and this is just being presumptuous, of course, but I think a lot of them deal with substance abuse issues, and that money that you give them has a high probability of going to feed that particular act. And so, I don't think that giving somebody money helps. I think that when somebody asks for money, if you have a family member that's always asking for money, ask yourself, why are they always asking for money? And by me giving them money all the time, whenever they ask for it, if any of you have seen My 600-Pound Life, they call that person an enabler. You're enabling their actions. So, I ask people for money and they give it to me because they're related to me. So I'm going to keep asking people for money, and I'm never going to get a job or find other ways to make money myself. And so, yeah, if you give money to people that are asking for it, you're basically enabling their behavior. So if nobody gives them anything, they have to find other ways to make money, to make ends meet. And that's why I think that, people that spend time begging for money, asking other people for money, that there are much more effective ways to utilize their time. Learn. Sit with people that know the trade. Learn. Read books. Get to know the manager. Hang out with the people that work in that department. Get your name known. There's always a way to work around it and to find your way into a particular job that you're looking for. If you're simply just sitting there waiting for jobs to come up on the page and you just click apply, and your resume looks like everybody else's, you're leaving yourself up to be not chosen because of the hiring manager's personal bias, or because they have someone else in mind. And if you don't have higher qualifications than that person who they've already kind of chosen in their mind, that's on you. So it's unfortunate that does happen, but the realistic thing is, you can't really do anything to combat that. And so you have to strengthen your resume, get your name out there, and leave them no other choice but to hire you. They need to come to you and say, you're the best candidate, we need you in this department. I had a friend asking me to hire his kid, but I can't do that because you're far more advanced and qualified for this position that I can't justify hiring them over you. You are perfect for this job. Will you please come work for us? And that's what will end up happening if you strengthen your resume and do whatever you can to become the best possible candidate for that position. So anyway, I've gone 18 and a half minutes. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for paying attention. Please continue to comment, like, share, subscribe, and talk about it and discuss. I'm keeping all the questions that people have been writing down, and I'll be discussing them in a future video. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Talk to you later.